Hello everyone and welcome to the EDH Jank Center, your source for everything Commander and everything Jank. I am your host, Jordan and/or Prairies, you can call me either, and today we got a list. A list of my favorite cards from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. But real quick, before we do that, make sure you go check out last week's video, Finding Homes for Janky Cards. It's a really fun video and I hope you guys really like it. I'm going to be doing much more of those. Speaking of, if you have cards that you want me to review or a deck tech you want me to make, drop it down in the comments below and your suggestion could make it into the next video. And one final thing before we get to the list, make sure you check out my Patreon. The link is in the description. There's lots of really cool benefits for patrons, including access to giveaways, and for top tier patrons, one custom deck list made to your specs by me. So go check that out, and without further ado, let's get to this list, shall we? I would like to preface this by saying that this is not the best cards from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. These are my favorites, things that I think would fit great into decks, or I just really like the flavor or the art. I want to spend some time geeking out with you guys, so if you dig that, let's keep watching. Yeah, so the first card today is actually, I lied before, this is the best card in the set. I think this might be the best card in all of Magic. It's Bronze Walrus. It's Bronze Walrus. 3-drop, colorless, artifact creature, Walrus from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. When Bronze Walrus enters the battlefield, scry 2, which means you look at the top 2 cards of your library, then put any number of them on the bottom of your library and the rest on top in any order. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, and it's a 2/2. But look at this handsome young man. Look at this absolute guy. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a mana rock, and he's pretty cool, but just look at him. Just look at him. Look at him. Okay. Moving on, we have Jaheira's Respite. Jaheira's Respite. This is 4 and a green for 5 total, instant from Battle for Baldur's Gate. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Also, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. I pulled this from a pack, and I genuinely couldn't believe that people weren't talking about it when I looked it up. I just think it's a really good card. 5 is a bit expensive, I understand, for what it does. However, I personally think if you play this card right, you can swing the game in your favor, especially late in the game when someone's full on attacking you with, I don't know, 10 creatures. You can play this. First of all, fog them. It prevents all combat damage. Then you get another turn to untap with all those lands you get, which is 10 in this scenario, and that gives you potentially enough mana to do the thing that might win you the game. I think it's really invaluable, and it's instant speed. Yeah, it's great. Next up on the list, we have Ancient Gold Dragon. 5 white for a creature, Elder Dragon, flying. Whenever Ancient Gold Dragon deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. You create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to the result, and it's a 7/10. So this is one of those big boy dragons from Battle for Baldur's Gate. We got one in each color that rolls a d20, and they're all pretty freaking good. Now, obviously, dragon decks are going to really love this, like the Dragon and Tiamat. However, this also goes well in any sort of token build. I think it can be really threatening as just a threat in the air. It's a 7/10 with flying already. You give that double strike, and that's already very scary. In fact, you give it double strike, and that ability will trigger twice because it's when it deals combat damage to a player, and double strike deals its combat damage twice. And I believe if I do the math right, if you roll a d20, 75% of the time you're going to be rolling a 5 or higher, which means that every time this deals combat damage to a player, you are going to be creating at least 5 dragon tokens with flying, and that baseline, the floor, is just insane. Deep down in my heart, I am a Selesnya mage. I love going wide with a bunch of tokens, and this card just allows you to really finish games off, I think. And if you add red in your deck, you can really impact the game with Impact Tremors or Warstorm Surge or Terror of the Peaks. It pairs really well, and you're just going to be shotgunning all your opponents with all this damage that you're creating from all the tokens. Yeah, go nuts with this card, guys. Coming up next is Captain Ngathrod. 3 blue-black, legendary creature, horror pirate. Horrors you control have menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the library this turn. Put it onto the battlefield under your control, and he's a 3/6. Now, anyone who knows me knows I am not a fan of mill at all, and so this might be a surprising pick. However, I just really enjoy that this is like a new way to do mill. It's more combat focused, which means you have to actually interact with the board, which I think is just a more fun way to play Magic in general. You're not just sitting there milling your opponents, and your opponents aren't just sitting there getting milled. You actually have to strategize, go to combat, you know, and that last ability is just incredible. invaluable. Being able to steal stuff from your opponent's graveyards is so invaluable. You can take some of their best or most important combo pieces, whatever they may be doing in their decks. And he gives all horrors menace. And he's like a tribal commander, which means you can be tribal and fun. This is just a great card. It's a great card. You should buy the precon, or if not, you should just buy the single and then build the deck around it. It's great. It's great. I just really love this set. This was a good set. Good job, Wizards. Also, yes, I am aware that some of these cards are from the precons and not the actual set itself. They're the same to me. I'm sorry. All right, up next, we have a familiar friend, Baloth Baratil, Entertainer. Baloth is a 4 and a red legendary creature elf shaman. Creatures your opponents control with power less than Baloth Baratil's power are goaded. They attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever a goaded attacking or blocking creature dies, you create a treasure token, and you can choose a background, which means you can have a background enchantment from Battle for Baldur's Gate as a second commander, and he's a 2/5. So if you haven't already checked it out, I've done a deck tech with this paired with Noble Heritage as the background, which is a Boros Goad tribal deck. It's really, really fun, so you guys should go check that out if you haven't. So basically with this guy, you are just, it's spectacular. You are basically buffing up his power and statically goading everyone's creatures. And then when they attack or block and they die, you get mana, you get treasures, which goes with artifact synergies, which goes with big mana stuff. You can do so much, and you get to choose a background, so you can move around color combinations. You can go Izzet with this, you can go Gruul, you can go so many different ways, like Boros, like I did. It's very, very fun and good, and I love it a lot. Number 6 on the list is Volo, Itinerant Scholar, 2 in a blue, legendary creature, human wizard. When Volo enters the battlefield, create Volo's Journal, a legendary colorless artifact token with hexproof, and whenever you cast a creature spell, note one of its creature types that hasn't been noted for this artifact. You can pay 2 and tap it to draw a card for each creature type noted for target permanent you control named Volo's Journal. Choose a background. It's a 2/3. This right here is where I'm going to put all my freaking janky red and blue cards. Are you kidding me? I'm going to put Starfish in here. I'm going to put Eels in here. I'm going to put Kobolds in here. I'm just going to draw a bunch of cards with no real win con, and it's probably going to be my favorite deck. This just opens up so many possibilities. You could probably bust it wide open and make it really competitive and amazing, but I just have always been looking for places to put janky cards. You know me by now, and this is just a perfect place to do it. The background gives you utility and color choice. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. There will probably be a deck tech in the future. All right, next up we got Calculating Lich, 4 black, creature, zombie wizard with menace. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life, and it's a 5/5. So immediately this went into my mind for my Kardur Doomscourge deck and my Scarab God deck. Now, some more seasoned players among us will probably say that 6 mana for all that is probably not the greatest. However, it's casual magic, man. I think this is a great card, and if you get this down, it already has evasion on a nice body, so you can attack with it. But if you're goading people, for example, whenever a creature that doesn't specify you or anyone else, whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life. This, over the course of the game, is going to net you a lot of life loss for your opponents and just make it easier to kill them and win the game in the end. I've said this before, and you guys have probably heard as well, the struggle with forced combat decks is when it gets to one-on-one, it's hard to finish off your last opponent a lot of the time because they have a huge, ginormous board that you haven't been dealing with because they've been swinging it at everyone else. But with Calculating Lich, you can attack with it transforms your board into something that can swing, make your opponent lose life, and then deal their combat damage, and that can make all the difference in the world. And it's a zombie and a wizard, which are 2 super relevant creature types. I think you guys should go and get this card. It's 32 cents. Oopsie, just realized that this is actually a reprint from Game Night 2019. However, I'm committing. It's still on the list. He's a jellyfish. He's literally a jellyfish in green and white. It's Glunch the Bestower, 1 Selesnya, legendary creature jellyfish, flying. At the beginning of your end step, choose a player. They put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature they control. Choose a second player to draw a card, then choose a third player to create 2 treasure tokens, and Glunch is a 0/5. So there may or may not be a deck tech in the future about this card on this channel. That's actually coming up like pretty soon. However, I'll get into it a little bit here. This is just a really fun and janky group hug commander. This reminds me a lot of one of my own personal decks, which is Shadric Silverquill, which allows you to give people things, and you can go politics with this, you can go pillow fort, you can go full-on group hug. It's just a really fun and interactive way to play the game, and I just really enjoy that. You could play a strategy where you're giving yourself the treasures, or you're giving yourself the +1/+1 counters, or you're giving yourself the free card every turn. When you are actively allowing other players to draw cards and make treasures, yes, their big scary things come out faster, but that just makes the game more fun, in my opinion. Gives you challenges and roadblocks to overcome, and you can also politic a little and be like, hey, look, guess who gave you that? Glunch, baby, so don't attack me. Also, incredible flavor if you just equip Glunch with like a bunch of swords because he's got tentacles and stuff. I mean, the possibilities are endless. All right, second to last card on the list is Astarian's Thirst. 3 and a black, instant. Exile target creature. Put X +1/+1 counters on a commander creature you control, where X is the power of the creature exiled this way. 1 more mana is something that people might complain about, but honestly, I think this is just an objectively better murder. This exiles the creature, so it skirts around indestructible, and it buffs up your commander if you have it on the field according to the exiled creature's power. This works well in a Voltron build, like that gigantic black frog could honestly really use this. That'd be really fun. It also works with things with +1/+1 counter synergies, but honestly, it just works in any sort of removal suite, in my opinion. You should put it in your deck. It costs 20 cents. It's just a really, really good card. I think it was overlooked. And yeah, all right, last card on the list is Decanter of Endless Water. 3-drop artifact, colorless. You have no maximum hand size and you can tap it for 1 mana of any color. I think this is just a really important card for any deck that wants a huge hand. Any deck that runs Venser's Journal or Thought Vessel or Reliquary Tower now has another way to enable no maximum hand size. And I think that's invaluable, and it comes on a mana rock that taps for 1 mana of any color, which in my opinion is a bit better than Thought Vessel, even though it's 1 more mana expensive. 1 more mana expensive. Jesus Christ. Okay, it's time to end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you dug this video, make sure you like it, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next, what deck techs you want to see, what tier list you'd like to see, or if you have any janky cards that you want me to find a home for, drop them in the comments and I'll be looking at them, and hopefully your suggestion will make it to the next video. Patreon link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.